In my experience, in my prior experience of using mathematics in aerospace engineering, it's very obvious how useful mathematics is. And there is never a question of whether mathematical modeling should be used or mathematics. No one really questions in physics whether math is an appropriate tool to use. Now, of course, having that background, and I have business students in my statistics classes who probably never minimally exposed to mathematics. And so, in my view, those students have that special need that they really want to see how mathematics is useful. And of course, statistics is extremely useful, but there should be ways to show it to business students. In many cases, contemporary data are extremely confusing for beginners. And I frequently compare it to drawings. When people learn how to draw, they start with simple shapes and shadows and simple objects. And then, of course, it has very little to do with the real-world example of drawing, but this is at least, that can show you a point or point of interest of where to emphasize and how you can use it in the real-world examples. And I think that we definitely lack this type of examples. And that's why I put very strong emphasis on making tools that you can readily use to illustrate things that probably are not very easy to find today, but would be very easy to produce and make a point. Well, I guess it started for me when I was trying to find data that I could make a point with. It's really hard to find anything. All real data, even if you find it, is extremely complex, and when you teach elementary stats, it's very hard to make a simple, clear point. So I wanted something I can illustrate a concept with that would shine the point that I want to introduce to my students. So I think that's one of the ideas. Now, of course, there are many ways you can generate data, and there are instructor resources that are full of data, and there are data generating tools, but it's very hard to edit them after all. And so that's why I thought Excel would be a great way to work with, because all teachers use Office products, and if you have something in Excel, you can readily copy your materials to PowerPoint and Word documents. It will change my data, it will adjust my data, and I'll have different visuals and different graphs and different data sets that I can bring to class and share with my students. I guess I see it very important to not even to show my students that mathematics and statistics are helpful and useful, but beyond that, it's no longer an assisting tool. It's the only way to interpret the world. So it's becoming from a helpful tool, it's turning into a driving mechanism of how business operates. And I think a lot of students really appreciate and enjoy that notion, because they don't perceive themselves as learning how to use a tool for an occasion. They just see themselves as being immersed into a vision of the world that combined with the contemporary power of theoretical mathematics and applied mathematics and power of computer science, that blended together can really drive change in the contemporary world.